And there's something so calming about driving out in the early morning into either the sunrise or seeing the colors of the sunrise before the sun begins to poke up. It's kind of this anticipation, knowing you have a whole day ahead. It's like you're driving into the day and driving into the rest of your life with that idea that the sun is rising and that you have every bit of potential and possibilities if you choose to take that day and do with it what you please.
Saturday morning, you might move a little bit slower than normal. I did sleep in. I'm a big advocate of the exact same time, but I also keep my alarm off on the weekends. And my body told me I needed about 3 extra hours of sleep, which is its response to some sleep debt. And I had a busy week. I feel really good. So I'm going to take that all as a net positive. So I can already tell that we're going to miss out on the true sunrise, but we'll be there early in the morning. I always like to make the sunrises with places that I go to as much as possible, but hey, the point is we're going to be out in nature, and we're going to have a good time.
So to get up early, you really do have to drastically change your mindset and reverse what gives you enjoyment, going from a lot of noise and partying and drinking and social stimulation to it being something that's more about solitude, about nature, about spending time with yourself and your own thoughts, where that enrichment is coming from, yes, your external environment, but really is coming from within. Now, this is not to say that you shouldn't have some sort of social life in order to start going on these types of trips on the weekends, but consider socializing in something like this with your friends and family while out in nature.
Sometimes I'm not the greatest planner. I was fairly certain that the Valley of Fire is about 45 minutes out. Turns out it's about double that length. It's about an hour and a half. But today I've pretty much dedicated to going to Valley of Fire, at least in the first half of my day. So not really concerned about it. A little extra time in the car. Don't like to sit a lot if I can help it, but hey, it's gonna be a beautiful day. But it's a really good example of this is the type of stuff for me personally. I think of on a very guilt kind of I'll be like, Justin, if you just had gotten up at your normal time, you would have been there in time for the sunrise. You would have been there early so that you can kind of get it done and get over for the day. On the weekends, despite me having to, trying to build a business on the side here with my training business and, just trying this content thing out, I do need that one day of the lack of regimented stress and scheduling. So yeah, I have to go into my Motion calendar app and probably move some things around. Won't get as much done today as I want to. But, the nice thing is now that I'm going into this foray of this is working for me. I'm waiting for something to come up in my head and my brain that might be helpful for somebody. Might be a tip on health, might be a tip on wellness. I have some topics that I wanted to talk about today. Probably didn't develop them enough, but you know what? We're doing the best with what we can, with what amount of time we have, and we're building momentum. But I guess just to get to the point of it, be easy on yourselves. It's not that big of a deal. Life is, I hate to say life isn't that big of a deal, because life is a big deal, but be easy on yourself. Don't take things so hard. It's a lesson that took me years and years and years to learn, and I still fall into it. This idea that there's not enough time left. You need to put an amazing amount of pressure on yourself, and it just keeps you in this constant state of stress, constant state of anxiety, and you just need to be a bit more gentler. I have a left and right side. I have call like the criticism goblin. I have to fight him every time he wants to start talking shit. And I have to analyze everything he says on whether it's really being true. And you know what? Sometimes if it even is true, so what? Deal with it, Mr. Goblin. We're late to getting to the Valley of Fire today on my day off. Go get bent. I have an idea, you know, that I can't resist. It's just too perfect of a ledge. It's too perfect. I bet whoever built this cabin was actually fucking jacked. It was fucking yoked, like super wide back, super wide lats, lifting rocks all over the place and logs.
Guys, when you start doing things like this where they see that you're out to watch the sunrise or that you're at some sort of nature or hiking or some type of outdoor activity, some people are going to start thinking that you're weird. And great. Be weird. But more importantly than just being weird is you are the person with a healthy and balanced emotional state. Be the person whose body isn't filled with cortisol and anxiety from sitting in front of screens all day, from being sedentary all day, from probably under eating and under living in a lot of ways during your week, and then deciding to overstimulate your body on the weekends with social activities that are loud, have way too much stimulation that we as human beings are already overstimulated in a variety of ways that we're really not meant to handle. And this isn't to promote to not have a social life, but instead I want you guys to be mindful and deliberate with how your life is structured. So you guys, look, an elephant rock. I want to rename it Mammoth Rock. Something a little more primal, something a little more Paleolithic. All right, guys, so now that we've seen a few different spots, I think it's time that we just go for a good old hike. I'm going to check. We have Arrowhead Trail right over here. I'm going to go check the map back at the car real quick and just make sure that thing isn't way too crazy. I mean, I could always turn around, but it's nicer if we can get some type of loop going on. All right, so looking here, I haven't really been to the Firewave Seven Wonders area, and there's some hikes up there, so might as well see some new stuff while we're here. Firewave is at 1.5 miles total out and back to the formation, so 1.5 miles total out and back, but we're gonna get a hike in, and then probably we're done for today. Always easy to get back out here, so this will be in rotation with Mount Charleston. This will be in rotation with wetlands. It's something I can do really, really consistently. But I am feeling that fire in my stomach to go out and maybe go hit up Utah pretty soon. That's gonna have some snow, if it doesn't already, at least in the next couple of weeks. So doing something there before the holidays. I likely am going back to South Dakota as well. That's got some cool spots, especially with Falls Park. Some places back where I grew up, so I'm excited to potentially show that off to you guys. I don't know for sure if I'm going, but let's make our way up to these formations and see what we can see. The combination of discovering new music and listening to all of my favorites while traveling around the windows open, going from serene, secluded spot to serene, secluded spot, and then in between just jamming on some music. You know, I'm obviously love metal, death metal guy. I sing death metal in my band, and just going around screaming and shouting with those, having my windows down. It's like being on a fun road trip with your best friend. but your best friend is actually, in this case, you. And that really should be who your best friend is yourself. I'm not even 100% sure of like where this is. I didn't see a sign for it, but the rock formations here are just like, it's too enticing. So got to get out, got to walk around for a little bit, and then I think we're going to be mostly set for our little adventure for today. Guys, I cannot express just how invigorating, refreshing, refueling, recharging it is to be out in the sun today after a long week of work, being in front of a computer screen. We got a lizard right there. It is imperative that in this type of world that we live in, that we give our little monkey brains an opportunity to see all of this, go out and see something like this. It doesn't have to mean you going to a big national state park. It could just be you going to someplace local where you got some green, you got the dogs there and everything, but you have to make it a consistent part of your schedule to get out there. I even recently had someone tell me, hey, Justin, but I mean, you're a single guy that kind of dictates his own schedule. It's hard for me to do some of this stuff because I'm married and because I have kids. And guys, I don't see that. Like, I don't see how that is a concern with this. You can bring them with you for this stuff, and in fact, you really should be bringing them with you for this stuff. Kids now more than ever are being locked in front of computer screens. Now more than ever are staying inside and becoming more and more sedentary. You need to be showing them an example by getting into the outdoors. You also need to be looking at it as time for you to spend with your family, to bond with each other. The 10 to 15 minute walks after dinner at night. So if you're on a weight loss journey, or just, I want people to do it for digestive purposes and for just general movement, right? Meditative, like, go bring your family along with you, bring your spouse, bring your partner along with you, bring your buddy along with you. Those type of items don't have to be done alone and in isolation. In fact, it's probably good for you to do those activities with others. Maybe this is me kind of crossing my line as far as things for politics. I never really will plan on getting too political on this channel, but now since an election is over, I just have like some important things to say, and it's nothing to do with policy or anything in particular to what each of the candidates provided, even the results, but just our attitudes afterwards. Guys, for the people freaking out that the world is over, it is definitely not over. The world is going to continue on. We are the United States of America. And what I would like everyone to kind of do is, because they feel like the world is so full of hate. And there's definitely hateful, really gross parts, really ugly parts of the world, but there's so much love also in all of us. There's so much love out in the world, and you can project your love onto the world. You can project your love onto others. You can smile, you can say hi, you can give someone a compliment. Like, you can be the change for the world. You shouldn't rely on the world changing for you and it being better for you. You should look at how you can serve the world instead of how the world can serve you. So just keep that in mind, that you can actually be the one that dictates the change in the world. All right, and I want to talk a little bit about how my week went. So I think I ended up at like 66 hours or something like that. Ended up having like 3 different presentations. Ended up having this big kind of legal dispute at work that I needed to, make some documentation for, some documentation that had to be very, very precise. So it took a while for me to do, along with all of the other parts of my job. And that's not That's not counting into anything I did with my coaching clients. So, and then content creation, which I didn't get to do a lot of, I didn't get to do enough of, and it's definitely keeping me motivated on ways to kind of get out of my 9 to 5. Now, I'm not a channel that's teaching people how to get out of their 9 to 5, but maybe there's some things as I go on this journey that you can learn from me. But the main things, I want to talk about is diet and exercise. So I did miss a workout this week, an upper body workout. Am I going to go train today? I don't think so, to be honest with you. I think that this movement that I have going on out here, that's going to be fine. It would have been upper body day. I actually am a little bit more interested in getting and dialing in, getting in the lab a little bit and adjusting the Desk Beast program that I'm working on. But I also did not do particularly well on my diet as far as fat loss. So I do have a lot of inflammation right now. I can see it. I can feel it in my stomach. That doesn't mean that I didn't even weigh myself. I know that when things like these happen, I don't need to go weigh myself, because I know that I gained 5 to 7 pounds, probably in water weight, probably due to things like stress and cortisol. But I am just going to have the attitude of getting right back on track this week. So I'm back on track with making sure the morning cardio is done. I did usually get my morning cardio done. Problem was I only did about 20 minutes instead of something like 35 to 45, which is what we're trying to do. We got to dig deep in these final fat loss stages. And then I did a lot of snacking. I talked in a video just the other day about what happens when we're not getting our sleep and our body gets dysregulated as far as the sleep-wake cycle, and overall stress is you're going to get very, very snacky. I hadn't had that feeling of being very snacky in a long, long time, and I was not prepared for it, guys. So when I give advice to people, keep in mind, I haven't been living the snacky snack life. So I do think that now that I've had a very snacky last week, and had a bunch of travel before it, that I'm now better equipped to give some suggestions for other people. And that is going to lean back on things like Valium. That is going to lean back on protein drowning, because despite all the snacking, I made sure all of my snacking was going to be fruits, was going to be these Chomps meat sticks, specifically the turkey ones that have really great macronutrients and less fat overall in them than the beef sticks. And then things like protein bars. So, but still, calories are calories are calories. My body is adjusting back to, I probably ate a little over maintenance. So once again, like 5 to 7 pounds, probably based in water. Not like, because I want people to keep in mind when they go through a stage like this and they gain 5 to 7 pounds, it's not, for you to accumulate 5 to 7 pounds of pure fat, you're talking about 15 to 20,000 extra calories. And like, look back at it. Did you eat that much extra? Not unless you slammed like a pizza a day. I don't think that you had an extra 15 to 17,000 calories. So, I don't want people to be worried about that. It's not really what actually occurred in truth. I'm kind of in a trap spot right now. I don't know where to navigate down to. I think I'm going to go down here, loop back around. But I am just having that attitude, getting back on track and getting a little more dialed in. I'm also probably going to be working on some things I know I have to provide midweek, very early on Monday. Even though I feel like I'm behind on some of my general tasks that I would have as a VP of Biz Dev, as a salesperson, which is follow-ups. I'm going to try to get through those follow-ups, prioritize the follow-ups on the hottest deals that I can get, and then get back into working on the bids, pitches, and proposals that I have later in the week that are, I'm just going to try to avoid staying up super late or having to wake up even earlier than I normally do, and reserve that early time to my business that I'm starting here. So the main thing I want to get across with that little rant is that this is a journey, and you're going to have weeks that have setbacks. You're going to have weeks that maybe you don't progress or you go backwards. Now, the whole thing can be considered progress as long as you're learning from it. You're learning yourself. Everybody's going to respond to stress in different ways. I'm just going to make sure I get back on my habits, which I didn't lose all of them. I would say that I hit like a 60 to 70% on my habits overall. I just ended up eating too much at night and ended up snacking too much during the day. Now, keeping that in mind and just knowing that it is a busy season for us, I know this. I know that my night meals, I've been ending up snacking afterwards. That means that my night meals need to get particularly voluminous, which means that when I'm going to do my meal prep this weekend, I'm going to probably put myself from a serving of a cup of vegetables into 2 cups of vegetables. Potentially, if I'm going to raise anything up, I'm going to potentially raise my protein back up. I put my protein down just as a way to overall put my calories down. But if I am feeling hungry, keep in mind I am a reasonably well-muscled individual, and I do still do a lot of strength training and hypertrophy training. That maybe my body is not responding to it well. That's why it's giving like a lot of hunger signals. So we're going to adjust that. Now, this type of thing, you might be really confused about what you should do in these situations. That's why you need a coach. This is not me just advocating for my coaching services. This is an announcement to everybody. The only reason I know how to do these things is because I had coaches before me. I had nutrition coaches, I have fitness coaches, and I have a variety of mentors that I've worked with throughout the years. So if you're confused about how to do this, make sure you reach out to a coach. You can reach out to me for the Health or Hustlers program. That link is going to be in the bio. You can follow along here for it. But make sure that you are consulting with somebody instead of just like kind of blindly shooting in the dark for your calories and macronutrients. And having a coach is going to help you strategize parts of your life that you maybe didn't think about. I had a client this literally just yesterday where we were assessing their progress, and they were having a rough week, and they knew that they needed to get back on meal prepping. And I was like, you know what? You're right. You need to get back on meal prepping. What you don't need to get back on is stressing yourself out about the meal prepping and thinking, I got to cook for 3 or 4 hours this weekend, when you've been stressed and you need more downtime. You need more parasympathetic time for your body to recharge and relax. Like meal prep, sure, but why don't you consider going and getting some Costco chickens, cutting those things up, rice and vegetables. Then you don't have to worry about the meats, and you don't have to worry about seasoning. Get a couple different sauces. You can do anything like that. Even frozen lean beef patties, anything that you can put in the air fryer, and you can use that as your meal prep. So don't think of it as like a big daunting task. Well, we know one thing, that these shoes are holding up. They're grippy AF. Last time I was out here doing anything like this, I was adjusting my nobles and I was sliding all over the place. Great purchase. Thank you, REI. Thank you, Ultra.
I really am a big advocate of being a kid again. I'm a 35-year-old man. I don't care if you're 35. I don't care if you're 50. Climb on a rock. Skip a rock across the pond. It's very important that we maintain some type of playfulness into our adulthood. And I think there's a lot of parents out there that this becomes a little bit more natural, and they actually have kids, that they're so connected with their kids and playing with them that they do become more of a kid. But I also see a lot of people that, could be less bothered to go on the playground set with their kid, and I don't know what is holding them up. Sometimes I wonder, if they're afraid of the risk associated with it, of them hurting themselves. Obviously, a huge amount of Americans are overweight. A lot of people are basically in pain as they move because they are under-muscled. They eat very inflammatory foods. So, hey, my knees hurt and everything like this. And really what they need as a prescription is better diet and then more and better movement patterns, especially with strength training, which is going to help the resiliency of their ligaments.
And with that, we are going to conclude today's little journey to Value Fire. Do got some other stuff I gotta do today. Probably gonna run by Costco real quick just to pick up some beef, some potatoes, and more vegetables. I think next time we'll make sure that we can get here early so that we can see a beautiful sunrise. I already have seen some spots that would be super, super nice for sure for a sunrise. Until we meet again, Value Fire.
This is exactly why we come early. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and found value, make sure to let me know in the comments. Let me know what are some spots close to where you live that bring you peace and solitude. And guys, I'm a small growing coach right now, and any likes or subscribes really helps me tremendously. We're all going to keep working to reclaim our life in the modern sedentary world.